This is Alan Smith. Good evening. Labour and the Conservatives have set out billions of pounds in spending pledges as they prepare for next month's general election. Nigel Farage has ruled out standing as an MP. Boris Johnson has apologised to Tory members for failing to honour his do-or-die Brexit promise. Lewis Hamilton is hoping to secure a sixth world title at the US Grand Prix. The Conservatives and Labour have defended their spending plans after offering commitments running into billions of pounds as they gear up for the general election next month. The Tories have confirmed that they would end the freeze on benefits next spring and increase state pensions by 3.9%, well above the government's preferred measure of inflation. Labour, meanwhile, said they'd upgrade almost every home in the UK with energy-saving measures. Our political correspondent Nick Eardley reports.
As sure as night follows day, political parties find more money for spending in the run-up to a general election. For the government, the purse strings have been loosened quite considerably. After years of austerity, declared dead by the last Prime Minister, Boris Johnson is spending on public services. Billions for the health service, schools, recruitment of thousands more police, new infrastructure and broadband. Today it was $5 billion to end the freeze on benefits like universal credit and to boost state pensions from next April. Does it undermine the Conservatives' claim that they're the party for sound fiscal management? The Chief Secretary to the Treasury, Rishi Sunak, says not.
What you'll see in our manifesto is that it will be fully costed, and with that you will see, as you would expect from a Conservative government, a Conservative party, responsible economic management. It was important that we took action to restore public finances to a sustainable place. That's what the journey we've been on. Now that we're in that place, we can invest in people's priorities.
But spending more cash on public services parks the Tories' tanks firmly on Labour's lawn. The party under Jeremy Corbyn has always made clear its intention to spend more on the public sector, nationalising key industries, bringing private contracts in-house when they expire. This weekend there's been a focus on housing, including £60 billion of energy-saving upgrades to low-income households over the next decade. The Shadow Chancellor, John McDonnell, on the Andrew Marr Show, insisted the party wouldn't need widespread tax hikes.
I'm trying to maintain that only the top 5% will pay a bit more, and we'll be honest about that. As you know, in the last general election, we provided a fully costed manifesto. But what I'll do is, in terms of income tax, we say very clearly the top 5% will pay a bit more, 95% of the population of the earners will be protected.
Both parties say their promises to the electorate will be fully costed. The bill could prove to be a large one.
The freeze on benefits was announced in 2015 by the then-Chancellor George Osborne, who said Britain's welfare spending was not sustainable. Rather than increasing each year to reflect the rising cost of living, most working-age benefit payments and tax credits have been kept at the same level for more than 4 years. With his analysis, here's our social affairs correspondent Michael Buchanan.
Since the benefit freeze took effect in 2016, 7 million poorer families have lost on average around £560 each year, according to the leading economic research group, the Institute for Fiscal Studies. The policy has been blamed for contributing to the explosion of food banks. Ending the freeze next April won't restore any of that money, but welfare payments for most working age benefits will increase by 1.7%. That means, for instance, the job seekers' allowance will rise by £1.24 a week to just over £74. While the money will be welcome, other ongoing welfare policies could lessen its impact, including the overall cap on how much someone on benefits can receive annually and the reduction in support to families with more than 2 children. And despite the government urging the poor to get a job or work more hours, being employed is no guarantee of not being poor. There are now 4 million families who are in work but living in poverty.
The Brexit Party leader Nigel Farage has said he will not stand as a candidate in next month's election because he wants to be able to campaign nationwide against Boris Johnson's deal with the European Union. Mr Farage told the BBC he'd be supporting the candidates his party plans to field in the vast majority of seats across the UK. The decision could make life more difficult for the Prime Minister, who today expressed deep regret for failing on his promise to deliver Brexit by Halloween. Here's our political correspondent, Jessica Parker.
Nigel Farage knows what it's like to stand for Parliament. The former UKIP leader has done it 7 times before, without success. Now at the head of the Brexit party, he told the Andrew Marr programme that he'd been weighing up his options.
Do I fight a seat, try and get myself into Parliament, or do I serve the cause better, traversing the length and breadth of the United Kingdom, supporting 600 candidates? And I've decided the latter course is the right one.
So you're not going to stand yourself?
No, very difficult to do both. Very difficult to be in a constituency every day and at the same time be out across the United Kingdom.
Some of Mr Farage's political opponents will likely accuse him of running scared, but he's still talking tough when it comes to Boris Johnson's Brexit agreement, today describing it as a gigantic con. The Conservatives say that it's a good deal, ready to go. That's after the Tories dismissed the Brexit party leader's offer of an electoral pact. Meanwhile, Boris Johnson has proffered something of an apology for missing that 31st of October do-or-die Brexit deadline. He was speaking to Sky News' Sophie Ridge.
I'm deeply, deeply disappointed, and I had to consider.
Are you sorry?
Yes, absolutely.
Will you apologise to all those Conservative members who voted for you because they thought that you would take them out of the EU on the 31st of October?
It's a matter of, it's a matter of deep regret. But what we need to do now is get on and do it.
The Prime Minister has been clear that he blames Parliament for the delay. Politics is a balancing act, and as Boris Johnson argues that opposition parties would further postpone our exit, he'll have to counter claims from Nigel Farage that the deal on offer isn't really Brexit at all.
The Scottish Conservative MP Ross Thompson has announced he won't stand at the next election after being accused of sexually assaulting a Labour MP in a Commons bar. Paul Sweeney says he reported Mr Thompson to Westminster's standards watchdog following the alleged incident in October last year. Mr Thompson, who represents Aberdeen South, has called the claim a political smear and has vowed to clear his name. 11 British nationals are among 33 people who were injured when a bus overturned in northern France. Police say 4 of the passengers were seriously wounded. The others were described as having light injuries. The vehicle, which was travelling from Paris to London, toppled on its side near Amiens as it was leaving the A1 motorway, France's busiest road. Millions of people in the Indian capital Delhi have been told to stay indoors to avoid the toxic smog that's covered the city. The air pollution, which today exceeded the severe category, has been described as the worst so far this year. Dozens of flights have been diverted because of poor visibility. More details from our correspondent Jill McGivering.
The latest public health advice was stark but simple. Cancel outdoor activities and stay inside with doors and windows closed. Delhi's Chief Minister described the air pollution as unbearable. Some young people braved the smog to protest and demanded a more dynamic government response.
It's actually scary. You can't see things in front of you. We're concerned about our future.